Hey, MIT Bootcamps community. We're here today with David Anderton from the countries that just committed what is known historically now as Brexit. History remains to show whether that was a good decision or not, but we'll leave it for another day. But David, the reason he is so interesting, among other things, is over the last 3 years, he's had a pretty interesting journey. It began with MIT and Harvard and DEX. He started taking online courses from his home in London, and now he's kind of here now. He works on a project at the Media Lab. He's part of an entrepreneurial team that is part of the global founder skills accelerator at MIT. He was also a boot camper in the inaugural bootcamp, MIT Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp 3 years ago, and he was part of the winning team. And he's also been working with our team here. The MIT Bootcamps team is redesigning our website now. So we just thought we'd bring him over and kind of catch up. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks, Eddie.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What I do at the moment is I work with software as a service, specifically for Deepstream.tv, where I'm currently their CTO. And Deepstream's going through the Global Founders Skills Accelerator, or the GFSA as we call it.
Yeah.
And that's going great. And also, as you say, I've been working with you guys on the Bootcamp website, which is super exciting. I guess we'll talk more about that in a minute, about what's coming up there.
Yeah, David, we'll get to it. We'll talk about GFSA, we'll talk about the bootcamp, but you've got really interesting and somewhat unusual, but I think increasingly in the future will be common background. You started as a journalist, but then left the professional journalism. You started taking classes on coding online. You taught yourself how to code, and now you're a professional software developer. Tell us about that.
Right. Yeah. So it's quite a interesting story. I graduated from SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies in London, in the midst of the financial crisis. And everybody in my class, myself included, were looking for that investment banking job to make some quick cash and then go off and pursue our business ideas. But that just didn't happen. Everything was a mess, and I was supposed to be visiting Lehman Brothers the day it went bankrupt. So it was a very, very strange time. So
did the visit happen?
No, it didn't actually. Everybody was exiting the building that day. Nobody was going inside.
Did you actually know that Lehman was shutting down that day, or did you go to the visit?
Oh, well, I actually turned up outside the door. Yeah, and yeah.
Okay, what did they tell you?
Sorry, we're closed. And a lot of unhappy faces, unfortunately.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, I was like, where can I use my my interest in finance? And so I reached out to some alums from my university who are working at the Financial Times, and went for an internship there, and started working as a freelance reporter.
At the Financial Times?
At the Financial Times, yeah.
And now, clearly, you're not with the Financial Times. So how did it happen that you went from almost a Lehman Brothers banker, had it not been for that fateful day, to a Financial Times journalist, and now a CTO of a startup as part of an accelerator here at MIT?
Right. So, well, I'll try to keep the story concise. But with journalism, for me, it's incredibly interesting. You get to meet a range of people at senior levels in different companies, and travel like you can't do in any other position, I believe. But it's one thing writing about what other people are doing, and you kind of get this feeling like, I wish I could maybe be in the news one day. So, rather than just see how other people are achieving it and what they're doing, it would be nice to get a taste of the action, so to speak. So I went into ops management for a small to mid-sized company manufacturing NAND flash, so like the flash you have in USB drives. But, working at a senior level there, I got a bit frustrated with how things were working out in that company, and started to look back to my childhood interest of taking apart computers and making like little websites and exploring that through edX when I got the first mail out that MIT was doing a short course on electrical engineering and computer science.
So you were one of the very first learners on edX.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really cool. All right. And your journey with us, and our journey with you, began with the Entrepreneurship 101 class, right?
That's right, yeah.
So what made you decide to join that course? And I know it's not like a momentous decision, right? You just click and roll. How hard can it be? But at the same time, you stayed with the course. How did it happen?
I think for me, I just handed in my resignation letter and was trying to find customers. And, customers weren't too hard to find, but they weren't always the right customer. And that was the lesson I was starting to learn. I was like, wow, this is a lot of hard work for the money. The customer doesn't understand what the effort is that I'm putting in and the resources involved.
Yeah.
And 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 I can't spend my time teaching them that because frankly they didn't want to learn. They wanted it cheap and cheerful, and I was struggling with that. So I just went straight to where I'd come past the course online, and I thought, wow, this will really address potentially my needs. And it was very easy to get into the course. The videography was excellent compared to the early courses on edX, where it was being tried out for the first time, were often just in the back of the lecture hall. So I found it really easy to watch. So that's how I got into it, and then got a mailer about the bootcamp and decided to apply.
Yeah. Well, you're a gift that keeps on giving. I actually didn't know that you were working on your startup when you started taking the course. So, okay, you're taking the course as an entrepreneur, you know, as a first-time entrepreneur. You're experiencing some difficulties, which is actually a great time to start learning new things, taking a course.
Hmm.
How what that course taught you was different from you knew to be or assumed to be true at the time?
I think I perceived my issues at the time in terms of the first freelance web thing I started doing was in terms of it was just about the number of customers
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out, okay, this is the price point that I need to be able to get this to work and to be able to pay myself a reasonable salary on. And I just took it in terms of dollar values rather than thinking about how do my values fit into this? What is going to motivate me to make it a success? And how there are actually different types of customer out there, which sounds very silly to say. Of course there are, but I wasn't. I was so focused in on like getting the sales that I wasn't thinking about, is there a way to optimize this so that the sales cycles are the same, so everybody's on a similar track and I can save time, rather than going out to try and work for the local council and then the next week trying to work with a restaurant, for instance.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
And at the end of the course, you get an email invitation to apply to the MIT Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. Why did you respond to the invitation?
For me, it was, like all of these decisions, it's multifaceted. The first thing that came to my mind was that I wanted some more experience from the course, and had loved what had been produced already. And I thought the on-campus experience would be a great way to supplement that and to really drill down into the areas that I was interested in from the course. Alongside that, for me, I also had a passion to maybe go to university in the US and to see what it was like. And I still hope to maybe think about doing a PhD at some point.
Oh, yeah?
Here in the US.
In
Yeah.
in what field?
I would do it in media arts and sciences at the media lab.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I was about to say that MIT might be a pretty good place. I'm glad you're already considering it.
Yeah, and I think, I actually looked at it when I was in high school, but my high school was equipped only for people interested in going to the US. So when I was 16 years old, looking at it, they were like, okay, well, go do the research. And so I looked into the SATs and the application fees, but it was such a foreign entity to me that it didn't seem viable at the time. So it was a great, the boot camp offered a way to like get a taster of what that life might be like also.
So you go to the boot camp. It happens at MIT. How would you describe that experience?
It's very, what a question, huh? I think I would say, well, monumental, life-changing, enriching. It made me take a step back and look at everything I've been working on up to that point, in the context of that. Not only wasn't a journey just by myself anymore, or like within trying to find my way within the community of London tech entrepreneurship and so on. It was actually a group, like out of the group of 47 of us, that were all in a similar, different places on the journey, but on a similar path, and just reassurance that, whenever you hit a struggle in terms of your entrepreneurship journey, that there's someone who's, already felt that way or is feeling that way with you at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, but wait a second. These days, what you just expressed, all you need to do is go online and you'll find plenty of voices that tell you that. Why come to MIT? Why go and meet others when really you can do this from the comfort of your home, so to speak?
Potentially, you can do that. You can look online to the many resources that are out there. Quora has like loads of questions on entrepreneurship, and people dedicate their time in loads of these forums and recording videos and so on. And in a way, that's what Entrepreneurship 101 is. It's an online guide to part of your journey. But I feel for me the value in actually putting faces to these stories really helps you to internalize it and to kind of find reassurance in the people who are taking this journey along with you. I think in some levels it is a very personal experience, especially before the huge funding check, and having those close relationships is key, and something that is potentially possible but not very easy to replicate online.
And now you are in the Global Founder Skills Accelerator that is led by Bill. You're spending your summer at the Morton Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been very intensive, and the GFSA tries to take you back through those steps. The initial, who is your customer? What is your core? How are you adding value? Define your sales cycle and so on. So it's been interesting for Deepstream because the company was actually taken through the New Enterprises course at MIT, which follows Bill's book. So this is almost the second time around, and just revisiting those questions around, what are the potential markets we could go into, and where are we adding value, has been busy work. It's not easy. It takes up a lot of time, and you also in the GFSA get to have a board. So we have quite a few industry experts who are holding us to account on the things we say we're going to do. So it's back to that idea of having someone kind of like checking up on you, and that's your board members. They have the ability to, in real life, potentially fire you. So you make sure you do what you say, or just be thoughtful in what you're proposing. And yeah, that's been an excellent training, I think.
Yeah, what you say is really, really important, and that's been really reflective of my entrepreneurial learning journey. I think MIT taught me to try to be credible. I mean, you're right. If you say something, you better hold up to it. And look, it doesn't
That's
have to be
right.
true, and life doesn't always work out the way you say it does, even though you can commit yourself to a comprehensive analysis. But if you're saying something, hey, here's what we're going to accomplish and why, and that why is based on some grounded analysis that accounts for life changing, but then why you did or did not meet your goals or even exceeded your goals. I think that's a very good thing to learn in life.
Well, this is it's interesting talking about this. Just today we were going through our values and how that relates to what we do.
Yeah.
And there's two journalists in our team, or two prior people with prior experience in journalism, and one of the most important values for us is authenticity, and also giving people a way to filter out nonsense from their news. Which actually reminds me, I didn't describe what deep stream is. So
Yeah, I was about to ask you to describe
Yeah.
Deep Stream, and actually ask you in addition to that, how can others find out more about Deep Stream? But
Oh, right,
if you want to stay low key at this point, which
Sure.
maybe understand, that's fine too.
yeah, we can stay low key. That's awesome.
No,
Yeah.
but do tell us about Deep Stream to the
Oh, yeah,
extent
well-
to the extent that look, sometimes
I don't want to plug it too much.
no, it's
But I just thought for context, it might be useful to just say, well, Deep Stream is a service that, allows broadcasters and people to curate live streams and video to provide context, to really just help people understand what is happening in video. Yeah.
give us an example of a broadcaster.
So, for instance, we've just finished a pilot with Univision through Fusion, where we've been working on our beta was the U.S. presidential debates, mainly between Clinton and Sanders. And basically, what Fusion did as a curator is they add context to the debate, which may be previous articles they've written, other videos, audio clips, to help them bring life to their older content, but also help the viewer get a better understanding of what's happening. When Sanders says something about immigration policy, well, Fusion can then bring up an article covering that was there from a couple of years ago, so we can actually potentially hold what Sanders was saying to account, get some more information about the debate, and get more involved into it.
This is cool. I can see how that can be helpful. And really in the spirit of Entrepreneurship 101, define your persona for us. And you're approaching, obviously, a two-sided market. You've got the broadcasters, you've got the consumers of the television content. Describe the personas on both sides.
So the persona on the broadcaster side for us is probably a 40-something female, earning over 160K per year, most likely involved in innovation at a senior level within the broadcasting company. And they're going to be making decisions on how to generate more revenue through video playtimes. So DeepStream comes in and will help them extend the playtime and thus the monetization of the video. And then in terms of the viewer themselves, we're looking at the good old millennial.
Which we're not. Are you a millennial?
If only.
Wait, yes, you are.
Am I millennial?
Yes.
Am I millennial? Oh, great.
Yeah. If you were born, it's like 81 through 99. We're both
Fantastic.
millennials.
Then I'm a millennial. I thought I was too old for that stuff.
No, oh my
So I
God.
was discounting myself. So
Well, I
should
didn't
have
realize.
investigated the term further.
It's 80s and 90s kids.
David, I thought we had so many commonalities, but now I understand to my chagrin. the Great Wall of China standing between us in generational understanding. It is c'est la vie, c'est la vie. But carry on, my friend.
So, yeah, the end user would be a millennial like myself, and not like Erdine, who's now past it. But only joking. Yeah, so a millennial who's spends probably like 6 to 7 hours a day, like with video content of some form, either in terms of news or YouTube,
Such a waste of time.
or streaming, and maybe even games, which I'm sure you'll think is a total waste of time potentially,
Yes.
but a huge market. And they're most likely male. So
Cool. You know what I'm really excited about is the fact that you're coming back to our bootcamp this August to be a mentor. And you already served as mentor in our bootcamp. You served as mentor at the bootcamp in Seoul last March. What was the difference for you between being a bootcamper and actually going out and mentoring bootcampers?
I think the difference is, and of course, I was part of the inaugural bootcamp, so there was nobody who had, so to speak, done it before. And the difference in the experience was coming back as a mentor, I was able to pick up on those patterns of thought, where the whole team starts to maybe try to gain traction around an idea and someone isn't quite bought in, and to see the symptoms of what that looks like, and to try and remind the team that people are more important than ideas, I think is one of the biggest lessons. And just respect each other, because everybody in your team is incredible. And that's one, when you get a bit frustrated about an idea or you don't like it, sometimes you can take that out on your team members. And you just kind of have to take a step back and think, hey, everybody here is is incredible. And for me, it's very humbling to be involved, because some of the participants are incredibly talented. So we all deserve the time to like discuss these ideas and think things through, and all add value in our own ways. So yeah, it was a enlightening experience to come back. Yeah.
Well, now we are pretty close to finalizing this bootcamp class. We'll have about 80 participants in total, including some folks who are coming back for the teachers bootcamp. They're all looking forward to the bootcamp. Tell them how to prepare for it. We've got some weeks left. What to be excited about. What to expect. What will they experience? Will surprise them.
Definitely. Yeah, how to prepare yourself? That's an interesting question. I remember when I found out that I was admitted to the bootcamp, I got the email on my iPhone after I'd finished doing a bit of work, and it was like 3 a.m. in the morning for me, and I just saw like from MIT, and I was like, oh man, another rejection, whatever. Never mind, let's move on. And I like opened it up, and it's like, congratulations. I'm like, what? I just start jumping around like a crazy in the middle of the night on my street, and from that onwards, for me, I think prepare yourself with the materials from Bill. That's been really invaluable. The steps, in terms of just not everything goes by the steps, right? Unfortunately, it's not a perfect world according to Bill's book, but what it does give you is a phenomenal framework to kind of understand what's happening. And, when you see that a customer isn't buying your product or interested, you can understand it through the framework and get an idea. Oh, maybe it's because of X, Y, Z, and that is really useful in terms of making sense of what's happening in startups around you, because your experience isn't just limited to your startup. The people and you meet, the stories you read on the news, it's great to have a way to kind of analyze it and learn lessons through other people's experiences as well. So I think, yeah, get your head in the book, and of course, like watch the videos from Entrepreneurship 101 again, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah. Well, David, I'm excited for the bootcampers to meet you. I'm excited for you to meet them. I might venture a thought that, you're a cool guy. You might be a lot cooler in person than you on a podcast.
Definitely much cooler in person, yeah.
And I want to, if you don't mind me sharing the news, congratulations to you. You recently engaged.
Oh, thank you.
Am I breaking? I think
Well,
I
I don't
did it
know.
already.
I'm supposed to ask Alice first, but yeah, we can break that news, I think. Yeah.
Well, you asked her, didn't you?
I did ask her, yeah.
What'd you say?
She said yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations. She made the right choice.
Definitely right choice.
You did as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, great to see you. I cannot wait to spend more time together at the bootcamp. And one of these days, we'll get you back here so that we can talk about the success of Deepstream.
Yeah, that will be great. I mean, the GFSA is going to be ending up in the start of September with a tour of, we do a pitch in Boston, well, actually in Cambridge here at MIT, one in New York, and then one in San Francisco. And then we've got 2 more board meetings to go. So, yeah, definitely there'll be a lot of lessons of the ups and downs. And, we're excited to take Deepstream forward and hopefully make it a success. Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank
and
you.
the MIT Bootcamp community, thanks for listening. Talk to you all soon.